Greetings, fellow gamers. I'm the Soulsborne Seeker, and today I'll be reviewing Curse of the Sea Rats, a charming pirate-themed Metroidvania title with minor Souls-like elements, developed by Petoons Studio and released in April of 2023 for PC, PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series S and X, as well as Xbox One. Curse of the Sea Rats takes place in 1777 on a remote island off the coast of Ireland. The story starts with a Royal Navy flagship sailing from the Caribbean back to England amidst a storm while carrying prisoners and evil pirates on their way to be judged. Among the prisoners are our four protagonists, Douglas, Buffalo, Akane and Bussa, as well as Flora Burns, an infamous pirate witch. In an effort to escape, Flora casts a curse that turns everyone on the ship to anthropomorphic rats, and takes advantage of the chaos in order to flee to the nearby island with her crew of misfits, kidnapping the commander's son in the process. Shipwrecked and desperate to get his child back alive, the commander offers the four prisoners a deal. Track down and defeat Flora, return his son to him, and all charges against them will be dropped. With no real choice on the matter, the unlikely group accepts the bargain and embarks on a journey across the isle in order to face off against the witch, reverse the spell, and earn their freedom. The game's story is serviceable and does a good job of keeping you engaged, though you shouldn't expect any big twists and turns since things do play out fairly straightforward. The first thing that truly stands out about Curse of the Sea Rats is the art style, specifically that of the characters. The artists have done a phenomenal job of creating a diverse cast of humanoid mice, each with their own distinct details, from clothing to facial features and expressions, all the way to their color patterns, reminding me of amazing cartoons I used to watch back in the 90s. Each character is hand-drawn to perfection, from the main protagonists to the bosses, all the way to minor NPCs. Combine that with their distinct personalities and a wonderful voiced cast for each one, and you get an unforgettable ensemble that stays with you long after the game is finished. That being said, while the character art is great, the environmental presentation leaves a few things to be desired. Curse of the Sea Rats features a good number of different biomes to explore, each founded on the swashbuckling theme the game is inspired by. Ranging from deep jungles and underground caverns all the way to swamps and ancient ruins, the variety is quite satisfying. The main downside here is that even though there are some truly impressive places to see, at times the 3D backgrounds may appear a bit too graphically simplistic when compared to the incredible work that has been done with the characters, which led me to wonder how even more remarkable the game would look if the areas were hand-drawn to the same extent as the cast. Speaking about biomes and exploration, thankfully the game stays true to its Metroidvania roots by giving us a map full of hidden treasure and optional areas to discover, making the journey truly worthwhile if you wish to see everything Curse of the Sea Rats has to offer. From power-ups and upgrades all the way to quest items that can be used to complete side missions, it's worth your time to venture off the beaten path and see what wonders are hidden across the island. The game features ability-gated exploration and backtracking, which means that certain areas will be inaccessible to you until you get the respective skill, as expected from the genre. In terms of combat, Curse of the Sea Rats plays it relatively safe, featuring a basic combat system that is easy to learn and utilize, while at the same time offering certain options for players who wish to go a bit more in depth with fighting. You have a total of 4 different characters that you can use throughout the game, each with their own fighting style and special abilities. On a fundamental level, combat is divided into physical and magical, each with its own skill tree which you can upgrade with the help of Wu Yun, a spirit that accompanies you throughout the journey and also functions as a save point. Going through each respective skill tree requires the use of soul energy that is dropped from enemies you defeat, similar to games like Dark Souls, and will allow you to increase basic stats like health, attack, defense, and magic, as well as offer you special passive and active abilities that will make your life easier. Each of the 4 characters have their own unique sets of skills and abilities to purchase, and can be switched between at save points, as well as more instantly if you find an optional item later in the game. In terms of Souls-like inspirations, it should also be noted that Curse of the Sea Rats has a similar death system to those games, meaning that if you die, you drop a certain amount of the soul energy you had gathered and need to go and reclaim the body if you want it back. Now, this wouldn't be a proper Metroidvania review if we didn't also talk about bosses, and I'm happy to say I loved almost each and every one of the big bads I fought against in Curse of the Sea Rats. I can't stress enough how unique each boss battle is, as well as how well designed the actual villains are. From a vampiric mouse to a half-spider rodent, all the way to a small lobster riding a giant crab, the game's bosses are brimming with style and personality, and offer a proper challenge without feeling unfair. There are also quite a few optional villains to square off against, some of which are even more impressive than the main ones, so make sure to go and seek them out. Lengthwise, Curse of the Sea Rats took me about 6.5 hours to beat with 100% map completion as well as most of the side quests done, which I consider to be decent, though it could have definitely been a couple of hours longer. The one main gripe I have with Curse of the Sea Rats is related to a story beat I won't reveal, but I will just say that something happens close to the end of the game that makes moving around the map much harder than necessary, which kind of felt like a cheap way to prolong the game's length and did lead to a bit of frustration when I needed to move from one side of the island to the other in order to complete certain side missions. It didn't ruin the experience by any means, but I could have lived without it. Overall, I had a lot of fun playing Curse of the Sea Rats. The art style was magnificent, the exploration was incredibly satisfying, the bosses were a riot, and the combat was tight and to the point. There definitely was room for improvement in certain elements of the 3D environmental visuals, and that controversial decision they made near the end of the game to make traversal harder could have stayed out of the project, but these points were not enough to mar an otherwise enjoyable experience. My final verdict on Curse of the Sea Rats is 7.5 out of 10. What did you think about Curse of the Sea Rats? Have you played it yet? Are you planning to? Do you agree with the points I mentioned, or do you see things differently? Let me know in the comments below, and please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, Soulsborne Seeker out.